Hi, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec Podcast, where I'll help you create teams worth leading because life's too short to lead mediocre teams. As always, I'm here, your host, Aviv Ben-Yosef, tech executive coach and consultant. I help people just like you. And our subject today is the wet table. I'm recording this on a very, very emotional day, as just minutes ago, all the live hostages were freed back to Israel from Hamas. So I'm extremely happy. If you're celebrating as well, let me know in the comments. I'm just in a very, very happy, positive mood. But let's get to it. It's time to record a useful episode for you all. The wet table. The other day here in Rome, we went to grab coffee as we do in the morning. Went to one of the local bars, and it was raining a bit earlier. So when we got there, some of the tables outside, those that don't have any roof on top of them, were wet due to the rain. It was no longer raining, but the tables were still wet, and therefore there were no free tables that were dry. And we actually saw people come, look, see that there's no possible spot to sit, and continue going. And went on to a different place. We saw that the people working there looked out, saw the situation, kept just preparing food for whoever was seated. And my wife, being the amazing person that she is, looked at that and said, "What's the problem?" I went over, I asked for some, paper towels. They gave it to me. We tried the table. We tried the few chairs we needed, and we sat down. That's it. Nothing too hard, nothing too creative, too imaginative. We just tried them and sat down to have a nice cup of coffee. And from that point on, once we did that, we actually enabled for the business to have an extra table for the rest of the, hour or two till it would have gotten dried by itself anyway. We just created more opportunity for that business, and we created some value for ourselves because we could sit where there was no space prior. This is the wet table that we encountered. And what I want to talk to you about is the thinking here. Sometimes all you need is the ability to look at things and consider, what can we do? Not just resign immediately and say, okay, what can I do? And, shrug your shoulders, go to someplace else, just give up. Sometimes you need to look at things and consider what really are the possibilities. Yeah, the role of paper towels wasn't there already outside waiting for us with a sign saying, you can take it if you want to. And it wasn't clear that they would even allow us to do that. But, what did we have to lose? We just asked if we could. They said, of course, yeah. And we just did that. And everyone were happy. Everyone was happy. It's as simple as that. It didn't require anything specific that we didn't know. And my takeaway for you here is to consider, first of all, are you enabling these things for your users? Are you enabling them to do things even if you haven't thought about them? That's one of the most fundamental utilities that you see in a good product, where it enables behaviors that drive value for your customers even if you didn't think about that. That's how you create platforms and very good APIs that aren't just locked down to the specific use case you had imagined, but allow people to use their own creativity, thereby creating even more value. And are you attuned to that, to notice what's happening? That's one. Because if you are attuned to what's happening, then the employees there at the bar would have noticed. But by the way, in Italian, you say bar for a place to drink coffee. We were not drinking alcoholic beverages in the morning. The people working there would have noticed and said, oh, yeah, that's an interesting thing. We can actually take the paper towels and dry the other couple of tables we have outside and have even more people sit, right? It took exactly 3 minutes. That's you being attuned to what your customers are saying, discovering value, actually showing you value that there is to be gained, and utilizing that. But second, also think about what's holding your people back, because why aren't your people even noticing that there's this possibility? Why aren't they saying, hey, we can create more value for our customers, more value for the business by doing that? Don't get me wrong, they're not lazy at all. The people working there are amazing. They're always so generous, so welcoming, always trying to help you, already have memorized everything that we order, etc. They're all amazing, but they just didn't think, didn't they were just myopic. They're looking at the basic stuff. It's what? Okay, what can we do? Didn't think about, hey, maybe we can do that. And when people have this self-imposed limits on what is possible, that's when we fail to utilize and maximize the potential of our thinking, of our product. You want to create teams where people actually see what's possible and are not afraid to try things, to ask, hey, what would happen if we would try that? Can we try doing this thing? Can we maybe have this experiment? Can we provide people with this capability? Can we do something like that? And just by doing that, we can create value out of nothing or with a very, very, very low investment. This concept of being attuned to what's happening outside and not just waiting to be told exactly what to do, but noticing what's happening and being aware of where the value is, how we can create it, and not just waiting for the specific directions and having. You don't even have to give them permission. You want them to understand that they have permission, understand that they have this agency and this autonomy to do these things because they cannot harm anyone. When they realize that, when they realize what's actually important, they can go and do these things and create extra value. That's a unique cultural behavior that I think I see in all of the best of the teams I've worked with, where people are really attuned on value, on what we can do. They're not just waiting there for instructions. They're taking the initiative. They're taking the lead. They're actively pushing themselves forward, trying to do things. That's what you want to create. That's how you create a team worth leading. So think about that and notice what table scenarios are happening around you, because when that happens, you want to seize them and talk to people about that to ensure that they understand what's happening. That's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Also, do check out my newsletter. The link is in the show notes, and it's the best newsletter online for tech executives with every week a podcast episode like this one, a video, an article, and a bunch of other stuff, all for free. So what are you going to lose? I'm waiting to see you there, and I'll see you here next week.